Germany was the first country in our 3-week vacation to Europe. We stayed just outside the Eiffel National Park and visited around that area.
Alright, we are in Germany. David is driving on the Autobahn.
We show you the speedometer to give you an idea how fast-paced this entire vacation was. One of our first trips on our German vacation was to a small town called Monschau. This quaint river town is in the Eiffel National Park area. It's made up of half-timber houses and granite churches with hugely leaded windows. The village is very easily walkable. The streets are cobblestones and narrow. The houses have been there for hundreds of years, many of them. They're marvelous little squares with wrought iron fences and marketplaces for you to shop and walk through. The architecture adapts to the river. There's narrow streets. The houses are tall and have booms to help get items into the upper floors. Metal art and stonework decorate the buildings. That door's on an angle.
I thought it is. Wow.
We found the doors to many of the houses fascinating. Obviously, many of them have been there for years, and some had writing above them describing the year and the family that used to live there. The streets are cobblestoned and they're narrow. You have to watch for the cars while you're walking around. Sure. Oh, look what's up there.
Wow.
That's part of the old battlements, I guess.
I guess so. Can you go that way?
It turns out that you can get to the battlements. There's some signs that direct you around, and you walk up a steep cobblestone pathway up to an area with rough-hewn steps into the side of a hill. And then you're sure you're in somebody's backyard instead of on a path that's supposed to go to a monument. But as you keep going, you suddenly see that you're at the top of the hill, right by the ruins of the old battlements, and you can look out over the city. It's a spectacular view and well worth the climb. While we were in Monschau, we took in some German culinary delights like waffles, hot wine, bratwurst with fries. We stopped at a restaurant and got local sundaes made from local fruit. But we had to go to the Aldi. We had to stock up on groceries. And we found a wide variety of items that were interesting to try. We had several interesting meals, including these cinnamon roll-like things we had for breakfast. Also in Eiffel National Park is the Vogelsang International Peace Area. This was a former National Socialist Party training camp. It's about a 100-hectare facility that they have now converted into basically a memorial to peace and preservation of peace. There are exhibits, and most of the buildings are still visible. This large facility set right on the Ruhr River, and is where members of the party would go for training and socialization. Not so much the military, but more the National Socialist Party. It later turned more into a military facility, and there were several barracks installed. The barracks, like you see here, were used to house members of the National Socialist Party that were in training And then later, during the war, it was turned into one of the Hitler schools for Hitler youth, and they would stay at this facility. After the war in the 40s and 50s, the Allied forces, particularly Belgian army, used the facility. This monument on the grounds was part of the Olympic torch-bearing procession for the 1936 Berlin Olympics. The Gothic-style Cologne Cathedral was a highlight of our trip. The exterior is covered with statues and ornamental work that is amazing to look at. The archways had very detailed scroll work and that rivaled that of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. The interior of the cathedral is a vast space with very high ceilings, ornamental work on the columns, dark wood. It's really awe-inspiring. To go along with the marvelous cathedral floors and walls is the stained glass. The stained glass was amazing. It's bright. As you can see here, there's quite a bit of it within the cathedral itself. And while the stained glass is artwork in and of itself, there's a lot of artwork within the cathedral, such as these marvelous altarpieces. Along with that, there's tapestries, there's paintings, there's statuary and metalwork. There's some ancient paintings like this one that you can barely even see now. The floor itself is a work of art. The amazing tile that was done throughout the building. I'm sure it's had to be replaced over the years because you can imagine the amount of people that have walked across these floors and seen this marvelous structure. I decided to walk up the 533 steps to the top of the 475-foot steeple. It was quite an experience. As you can probably already hear, this walk is not for the faint of heart, shall we say. The steps are circular steps that are narrow. It's hard to pass people as you walk up. There are only a few landings along the way, and so it is very taxing if you're not in very, very good shape. One of the rewards, though, is if you time it right, you might be able to stop in the bell tower and hear the bells. From the bell tower, there's still a pretty good little climb on up to the base of the steeple. And then once reaching the base, there's a scaffolding to go further up.
Oh.
But again, it's worth it with these marvelous views of Cologne and the Rhine River. While I was climbing for these views, Jenny decided to sit in the church and attend Mass, and she was treated to a marvelous organ performance. Just outside the church is the Holhauser Bridge, which crosses the Rhine River and is actually a railroad bridge, but which is also used by pedestrians. Many a young lover has placed a lock along the bridge, and it's one of the few bridges that is built sturdy enough to hold up the weight of the probably hundreds of thousands of locks that have been put along the fence. Once we crossed over the bridge, there's a wonderful river walk all along the opposite bank from the cathedral. We walked all the way down through a interesting little park and under a pavilion area that was that they had musical concerts and so forth at. On the other side of the park is a gondola ride that will take you from this side of the river on an 8-minute ride to the other side. And so we enjoyed that.